Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. The sankalpa or the intention for today's yoga class is expressing your joy. I want you to not be afraid to express your joy for what is working in your life, for what is working within your body. Focus on what you can do instead of bemoaning what you can't do. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and feel comfortable to pause the stream or to ease your way into child pose at any time should you need to take a little breather. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We aim to set up for today's class standing towards the top end of the mat with enough room to step back into a lunge line. Look down towards your feet. Start getting yourself situated on the mat by bringing your feet in and stacking them in parallel underneath your hips with all 10 toes looking to the front of your mat. Start squeezing the inner thighs softly together and then think of curling your tailbone in towards your belly button. Start zippering up your lower abdominals. Stand up nice and tall. Interlace the hands, invert the fingers, and on a long exhale, push the hands away from you, sending energy out through the heels of your hands. Inhale to bend the elbows, bringing the back of your on a long exhale and take a soft twist to the right. Float your way back. Big inhale as you bend through the elbows, bringing the back of your hands towards your chest. Take a big lunge step back with your right leg. Maybe tucking those toes under so that your hips are looking to the front of the mat. On an exhale, push the hands away and take that soft rotational twist. It might be smaller this time to side one. Inhale to float back. Step up to the center line, bringing the back of your hands towards your chest and bending through the elbows. Then take a big step, lunge back on the left. On an exhale, push the hands away from you and take that soft twist to the right. Working with your breath. Inhale to come back. Take a big breath in, filling your lungs to maximum capacity, and on an exhale, you're going to softly begin folding forward. Pushing the hands away from you as if you were trying to reach with your interlaced hands for the floor and holding as far as you can. Maybe that's a tabletop position for you. Maybe your range of motion allows you to reach a little bit closer towards the floor. Make the crown of your head heavy and maybe softly begin rocking back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet, starting to open up that tightness along the back chain of the legs. Then uninterlace your hands. Bend the knees if you need to connect your hands to the mat, either fingertips or flat palms. You're going to step your way back into the down dog. If your legs are really tight, give me a soft pedaling motion, keeping the knees tracking forward as you just gently wake up the back of your legs. Then try to hold your down dog frame, dropping as much weight as you can through the heels of your feet, checking that your feet are just inside of hip width distance apart today, hands more or less shoulder width apart. Get a nice stretch into the front and the back of the body and keep your belly button softly pulled in to center. Ease your way from here into a plank line. Strong through the shoulders, strong through the core, strong through the legs. So not collapsing your frame, looking for strength on the mat. Use your plank line to transition into an up dog by gently starting to drop your hips through the plank line, but don't collapse through the shoulders. Keep your belly engaged, keep the arms strong, keep the shoulders strong. Then relax your knees and your shins. Bending one elbow at a time, slide the arms forward, coming into Sphinx, pushing softly off your elbow points and making sure that your elbow points are stacking underneath your shoulders. I want you to look for as much length through the spine as you can here. So focus for me on not pressing heavily with your elbow points into the mat. Instead, try to use your back extenders, your spine and your back muscles to try to grow your trunk up towards the ceiling and make the pressure on your elbow and the forearm as light as you can. Take a few gentle breaths here. Get a nice stretch into the lower belly area. And if you're feeling good here, maybe curl the head up gently and peek up to the ceiling. Then on an exhale, softly nod your chin towards your chest and release that little tension spot at the nape of your neck. The whole time holding your sphinx brain steady. Bring your chin line back to neutral. Start dragging your palms down. Palms alongside your bosom. You're going to push back into child pose from here. Trying to keep your legs in a soft, relaxed, parallel line today. Think of just bumping your bum back towards your heels and taking a nice extended stretch here. Maybe pressing off your palms or your fingertips, pretending somebody's standing behind you and gently pulling your hip line back. Then ease your way from here into a 4-point kneeling frame on your mat. Start with a neutral tabletop line. Nice long line through the neck and the spine. On an inhale, take your chin and your bum bones to the ceiling and hollow out the back, pausing here in your cow frame. Keep the belly button softly pulled into center and enjoy that stretch into the lower belly area and into the little turkey waddle underneath your chin. Then on an active exhale, I want you to round out into cat, hollowing out your belly this time and pausing, almost trying to grow the back of your ribs towards the ceiling. Find your way from here back into a neutral tabletop line. Take a big breath in. Try to keep your neckline as long as you can. Your gaze is down on the mat between your two thumbs. Keeping your neckline and your back line as long as you can, not losing that length through the spine. You're going to peek over your left shoulder for your left bum. Feeling the obliques on the right side of the body, take a nice little stretch. Inhale to peel back to center. Exhale to peep over the right shoulder. Find your way back to neutral. Relax back down into child. And this time, as you connect your forehead to the mat, you're going to play with your hands. Start with your hands, palms down into the mat, gently pushing down. And then relax your elbow points and your forearms and think of rotating your hands, palms looking up to the ceiling. Then begin oscillating dynamically between the two. Palms down, pushing away. Elbows and forearms come up off the mat. Then relaxing through the elbow points and the forearms as you flop the hands around, palms looking up to the ceiling. Every time you drop the back of your hands to the mat, I want you to allow a nice lazy smile to just begin peeling over your face as you begin delighting in what your body can and will do for you today if you give it the opportunity. From here, you're going to peel your way back into 4-point kneeling. You're going to ease your way into a down dog hold. Tuck your toes under, pike your bum up to the ceiling and try to hold the frame. Trying to drop the heels of your feet as close to the floor as you can. Pedal if you need to, and then hold the frame steady when you can. Get a nice stretch into the front and the back chain of the body, but watch that you're not leaning all of your weight into your wrist line. Think of almost clawing through your fingertips, hollowing out underneath your hands and sending the energy up through your arms and into the back and the chest. Let's play with a little sequence on the right. Soften the right knee and then kick up the right leg behind you, holding a 3-legged dog, Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Try to stay even through the shoulders and the hips and send energy out through the heel points of both feet. Stay or play. Arch the dog by bending your floating back leg and pointing the toes softly up to the ceiling. Then open up the knee to the side of the room, drop the foot to the left and peek over the left shoulder as if you were looking for that hanging scorpion tail of a foot. Keep sending energy up along the inner thighs, bleeding through your pelvic floor towards your belly button line. Then think knee to nose plank, and as you feed the leg through, I want you to step the leg to the outside of your mat on the left, knife edging your foot, and then hold the line for me. Think of making your right hip heavy to the floor, but don't collapse through the arms, and just enjoy your little fallen triangle stretch. Find your way from here back into your three-legged dog, and then use the three-legged dog to swing through into a warrior one step line. So think knee to nose, stepping all the way to the inside of the right hand. If your foot gets stuck on the mat, just do a manual readjustment and bring the foot forward. Make sure you've got knee over ankle. You're going to come into a warrior one, and I'd like you to focus on your back leg. As you drop weight down through the back leg, don't open the leg all the way to 90. I want you to give me more of a 45-degree angle so that as you peel up into your lunge line and float your hands overhead, both of your hip points are looking to the front of the room. Keep reaching along through your fingertips. Keep that gentle smile on your face, but soften the collarbones away from your ears. Keep your right arm where it is and slowly float the left arm down, reaching for the back leg, maybe wrapping your fingertips around the inner thigh and finding a soft holding spot. Then softly begin arcing through the spine, looking up to the ceiling and try to open up through the front of your ribs as you take a few gentle breaths here in your modified peaceful warrior. Then think of gently opening up the arms into T, but give me palms up to the ceiling and straighten your lead leg. Then start rotating through the palms so that the palms are looking in the same orientation as you face. Take a big breath in. Pretend somebody's tugging your front hand forward. Pop out the back hip and then hinge forward, coming into a triangle, Trikonasana. Maybe resting the back of your hands against the inseam of your lead leg and trying to give me a T frame through the arms, or dropping your fingertips or your palm to the mat, or perhaps placing a block underneath your bottom hand and using that to support your frame. Play where you're comfortable. Pretend that you're running a broomstick from your top wrist towards your bottom wrist and try to give me a long line through the hands, reaching tall through the top arm. Then begin gently rotating through your trunk. Tuck your back toe under and come into a soft lunge line, framing your lead leg on either side. Ease your way from here back into your triangle. And find your way from here into a modified 5-point star. Coming back upright. Front toes pointing to the corner of your mat. Back foot pointing to the corner of your mat. You're going to open up your arms into that little T-frame, palms up to the ceiling. Take a big breath in here, and on an active exhale, you're going to think goddess. So think plie line, bending through the knees, and bend the elbows as if you wanted to bring them in towards your waist so that your hands resemble two little serving trays with your palms looking up to the ceiling. Inhale, come back into that 5-pointed star. Reach long through your fingertips, reach long through your crown, reach long through your legs and your toes. On an active exhale, bend the knees, think plie line, and start bringing those elbow points in towards your waistline. Stay or play. Start dropping down on the right side, thinking of tapping your right elbow without leaning into it. Just tap your right elbow to the top of your thigh. And then maybe extend the other arm overhead, reaching long as if you wanted to bring that arm close to your ear. Stay or play. Start dropping the right arm down to the inseam of the right leg, and then square up the back leg, think warrior 2, and come into a side angle, maybe palm to floor, or maybe using a block underneath the hand. If your inner pretzel needs a little bit of playtime on the mat today, you can soften your bottom arm, start tucking as much of the elbow through, feed the hand underneath the lead leg, wrapping around your bum, And then take the other arm behind your back and try to grip the two hands behind your back, coming into a little bind. Drop as low as you can through the pelvis and really begin opening up through the groin. Stay here for a few beats. And then think of that soft lunge line that we played with. Start unbinding. Start pivoting through your body and tuck the back toes under, finding your lunge line. If you need to, give me a soft sway back and forth just to release any tension that you might be feeling in the groin area. You're going to find your way from here into a warrior 3 line. And if you need to, don't be afraid to use the back toes for support. You're going to launch your weight forward off the back leg and into the front leg. Use your back toe if you need to find your balance on the mat, and then float your way up into a soft tabletop line. We're going to do hands floating behind us, palms looking up to the ceiling today. And just give me a soft toe line and look for length through the neck and the spine. Then step the 2 legs together. Give them a little shake out if they need it. You're going to find a gentle tree line on the right. Keep your current orientation on the mat. You're going to either give me a baby tree, bending the right knee, placing the sole of the foot on the floor with your big toe, tapping the mat to help stabilize your frame. Or you can scooch the leg up a little bit higher so that the whole foot is underneath your knee. If that feels good, take the whole foot to the inner thigh of your right leg. If your practice is more advanced, maybe coming into a half lotus line, preferably the half lotus line if you can today. So bringing the heel of the right leg to the inside of the left hip bone and just floating your hands out in front of you today as you come into your half lotus tree. Play with it, see where your body wants to be. Keep your eye trained on the focal point, drishti, on the wall in front of you. If you were in the half lotus tree line, you're going to find your way from here into a chair frame, trying to keep a figure 4 position through the legs. Start sliding your right foot down so that it's resting on your left thigh. Bump the weight back into your bum and your heels, and then begin stacking the forearms, resting one arm on top of the other as you find your figure 4 chair. If you find that this is too much for you, just step the feet softly into parallel and come into a traditional chair, bumping the weight back into your bum and your heels, and then trying to stack the hands one on top of the other, or keep the arms long and extended if you prefer. Play where you're comfortable. Find the joy in what does work for you today, and then just express it, delight in it. From here, you're going to find your way into a soft forward fold, stepping the feet gently into parallel, softening through the arms, and this time trying to connect the palms of your hands to the floor. If this feels really comfortable, maybe inverting your palms, or your hands rather, tucking them palms up underneath your feet as you come into Gorilla, Padahastasana, and just gently rocking the weight back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet. If coming close to the floor is not an option for you, maybe just hanging in table, holding onto the forearms, or bracing against your shins or the top of your thighs. Experiment and then find what works for you. Take a few gentle breaths here. And then when you're ready, you're going to set yourself up to repeat this little sequence on the other side. Start softening through the knees. Feed your hands out if you were in Gorilla. Place your hands on the mat and step back into your down dog frame and try to hold the stretch for a few gentle breaths. Ease into your frame. Check that your feet are about hip width distance apart, hands about shoulder width apart. Pack your bum up nice and high to the ceiling. Have your gaze looking either towards your knees or up towards your navel, and try to make the crown nice and heavy to the floor. Alrighty, let's find our 3-legged dog on the left. Soften the left knee and kick up the leg behind you, keeping square through the shoulders and the hips. Look for control. And then if you're feeling playful, arch the dog. Bend your floating back leg, point the toes up to the ceiling. Open up the knee to the side of the room, drop the foot to the right, and then look over the right shoulder, arcing slightly through the spine for that hanging foot behind you. Pause here, looking for control through the inner thighs and the core. And then think knee to nose plank and step the foot across the mat to the outside on the right. Think plank, knife edge your step through foot, and give me a little bit of weight into the left hip. Hold your fallen triangle. Come back to your three-legged dog. Step through to the inside of the left hand. Drop your back foot to 45 and peel up into your warrior one line. Reaching along through your fingertips, but keeping your collarbones nice and soft. Look for control within your frame. And then keep your left hand where it is. Start dropping the right arm and reach for the back leg with your right arm. Maybe wrapping your fingertips around the inner thigh of the back leg, arcing slightly through the spine and looking up to the ceiling as you find your modified peaceful warrior. Then bring your chin line back into neutral. Start straightening up the front leg and give me a T arm. Think warrior two, but palms are looking up to the ceiling. Then rotate your palms in so that they're looking towards your face line. Pretend somebody's pulling you forward, pop out the back hip, and then begin hinging forward, setting up your triangle line. Maybe resting the back of your hand on the inseam of your leg or dropping your fingertips or your palms to the mat. And then think of just getting me a soft T-frame through the arms. Keep reaching as long and as lengthened as you can through the top arm. So try not to lean aggressively into that bottom arm. You're going to find your way from here directly into your 5-pointed star. You can lunge line out if you need to first. Peel back up into your original starting frame. Palms are looking up to the ceiling. Look to your front foot and begin pointing the toes to the right corner of your mat. And do the same on the back leg. Reach long through your toes, your fingertips, and your crown. On an exhale, you're going to think goddess. Start bending through the knees, think plie line, and bring your elbow points in towards your waistline, almost as if you were presenting a tray of hors d'oeuvres on either side. Inhale to come back out. Find your T-frame. Reach long through your fingertips, your toes, your crown. Exhale to bend through the knees and the elbows, thinking goddess. Find your plie line. Stay or play. Start making the left elbow heavier and try to tap it to the top of your left thigh. Then reach the right arm overhead and try to open up through the rib cage on the right. If this feels good, drop the left palm to the inside of the left leg. Think warrior two on the back leg, open up the leg to 90. And then soften through the bottom arm, tuck as much of the arm through, wrapping around your bum. And see if you can bind the two hands behind your back, maybe coming into a bear grip or holding on to the wrist of your back hand, whichever feels the most intuitive for you today. Take a little smile if you've managed to ease your way into the bind. And then when you're ready to come out of it, begin unbinding the hands. Take a little pivot to the front of the mat. Find a soft lunge line, tucking the back toe under, and maybe give me a little release, rocking back and forth. You're going to find your way from here into a warrior three line. Use your back toe if you need to. Launch the weight off the back leg, placing it on the front leg, using your toe if you need to on the back leg to find purchase on the mat. When you're ready, draw up the energy along the inner thighs and from your pelvic floor towards your waistline to float up into the soft tabletop line, trying to keep square through the shoulders and the hips. Palms are looking up to the ceiling. Then step both legs into parallel. Give them a little shake out if you need to, and set up your tree line. on the left, either small or below your knee line or above your knee line, or coming into preferably the half lotus line, and just reaching the arms long and lengthened in front of you, looking for stillness, looking for control. From here, you're going to pick a chair line of your choice, preferably a figure 4 chair. So if you are in the half lotus line, you're going to slide the foot down slightly on your right thigh, bump the weight back into your bum and your heels, and then start stacking the forearms, resting one on top of the other, or just stepping the 2 feet alongside each other and bump the weight back into your bum and your heels, coming into a traditional chair. Find the Utkatasana, the chair, that's working for you today, and delight in it. Then softly fold forward from here, maybe tucking into gorilla, palms are looking up, tuck them underneath your feet. Rock the weight softly back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet. And just stay here for a bit, blissing out, enjoying the sensation of the blood rushing into your head, ironing out all those tension wrinkles. From here, you're going to ease your way into Thunderbolt, Vajrasana. Peel the hands out from underneath your feet, stepping back and dropping down onto the knees. Bring the knees and the feet together and then sit softly back on your heels. If this feels uncomfortable, you can open up the knees and the feet, maybe take a block, feed it between the legs. You could also use a scatter cushion and just sit down on your block to support your frame. Situate yourself in your Vajrasana variant. Sit up nice and tall and just drop the hands to the top of your thighs. Start with a comfortable neutral spine position, allowing for that natural S curve in your lower back. Then think of softly curling your tailbone in towards your belly button, almost as if you were trying to lengthen out that S curve in your lower back. Find a soft contraction in your core and hold it. Then placing your hands softly on the mat if you need to, or keeping them on your lap, you're going to bump your weights to the right, trying to slide off your heels and resting on your right bum cheek with your feet wrapped around you. If this feels really uncomfortable, you can take your block, place it just to the side of your right hip, and then shift the weight off your bottom and onto the block so that you're sitting on the block and not on your feet. We're coming to a modified Vajrasana twist. Sit up nice and tall and then just curve towards your feet. Maybe holding left hand to left ankle and the right hand just softly pulling the left hip in towards the center line. Pause here. Maybe looking over that back shoulder for the back corner of your mat. Then peel back to center, take the outside knee and slide it away from you, and then slide the front leg out and try to line up the knee and the ankle in a straight line. Then tuck the knee of the back leg into the arch of your front foot and try to reposition your body weight so that both bum bones are bearing weight and you're not leaning everything to the right. If you look between the two legs, you should have a little triangle frame between your legs. Just sit up nice and tall as best you can. And take that soft rotational twist to the left first. Maybe just cupping both hands to your hip bones and thinking of hugging the whole thigh in towards your chest. Keep looking over that back shoulder. Inhale to come back to center, and then see what it feels like to softly take the twist in the other direction. Maybe plopping right fingertips on the floor and reaching with your left hand for the outer thigh on your right, hugging or pulling the thigh into center and trying to get more rotation through your spine. If you feel comfortable here, you can think of creeping the right hand away from you, maybe even coming off your mat and dropping down onto the elbow, and then arcing slightly through the spine as you float the left arm overhead, bringing the arm nice and close to your ear and thinking of growing the left side of your ribs up towards the ceiling as you push softly off your bottom forearm. Think of that Sphinx pose that we played with right in the beginning of the class. Lead your way back into a high seat. Float the back leg around and ease your way into a butterfly line. Bringing the soles of your feet together and keeping the fingertips behind you on the mat. Start shifting the weight bum cheek to bum cheek and start systematically creeping your bum closer towards your heels. Coming up nice and tight. Soles of the feet are pressed together and just make the knees as heavy as you can. For some people, as soon as they come into the butterfly line, they're nice and open and the knees just drop to the floor. And for some of us, it feels like our knees want to wrap around our ears. So just play where you're comfortable. Alrighty, from here, we're going to play with a little seal on the mat, and we are going to be moving a little bit. So take a glance at where you are on the mat. If you are not at least in the middle of your mat, slide your feet slightly forward and then just creep forward a scooch so that you've got enough room to rock back. You're going to find a soft diamond frame between your legs, so allow the heels to scooch a little bit further away from your body line and tuck the hands around and underneath your feet. Front view. You're trying to tuck your hands through so that you can rest the weight of your ankles in your palms. Then you're going to think of coming into a boat line. So you're going to draw up the energy along your inner thighs. You're going to pull up from the pelvic floor towards your waistline, and you're going to float your feet off the mat, coming into a floating boat line. Stay here, looking for control, or begin to gently rock. Think rolling like a ball. Start to hollow out your belly, rounding out your spine, looking towards your navel. Rock back as far as your shoulder blades, and then back up, either tapping your toes to the mat or trying to keep them floating. Try to do that 5 times, looking for control through the inner thighs and the core. Give me a joyful little smile if you've managed to find that balance and that control. You're going to end on your back, and we're going to come to a modified happy baby. So you're going to keep the wrap of your hands where they are. As you drop onto the back, allow the feet to open up and maybe allow the soles of your feet to look towards the ceiling. Then make your elbow points heavy and press softly into your inner thighs and hold the frame here. Trying to make your tailbone nice and heavy into the mat. Then unbind and take your hands from the outside of your feet and tug down, coming into more of a traditional happy baby. As your knees become heavy and start coming towards your chest, allow them to splay around your chest, almost aiming your knee points for your armpits. And then if your tailbone is peeled right up off the mat, make your sacrum and your tailbone heavy and try to effect a nice little release into the lower back. If you need to, you can gently rock the body side to side. Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Then think of peeling up from here back into a butterfly position. Start wrapping your hands around your ankles. Bring the soles of your feet together. Scoop to peel up off your shoulders. Hold that scoop position, almost as if somebody had thrown a beach ball onto your belly and you'd gone oof around the ball. All right, hold this little hanging stretch here. And then drop back down onto your shoulders, reconnecting your head to the mat. Unbind from your legs, bring the knees together, and maybe just gently cradle rock it up. You're going to give me one roll to come back into a seated frame. Tucking into a tight little ball, rock back up into a seated frame, hugging your shin bones in towards your chest and sitting up as tall as you can. Then sweep the legs underneath you and find your way back into Thunderbolt Vajrasana with your knees and your feet together. Take a couple of breaths here, finding your neutral spine and just dropping your elbows and your arms heavy at your side. Then tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, find that contraction through the core and hold it. You're going to set up your little Bharat Vajrasana. But before we do, we're just going to take a gentle step out. So you can use your block. Remember, use your block if you need to. Place it alongside your hip bone and just shift your weight off your feet and onto the block if you need to. Otherwise, left bum on the floor, feet are wrapped around you on the right. You're going to take a soft rotational twist to the right, using your right hand to grab hold of your right ankle and using the left hand to just gently pull your left thigh your right thigh or hip in towards the center line. Look over the back shoulder to the floor behind you. And then gently just come back to center. And see what it feels like if you take the twist to the other side. If this feels good, you can start walking your left hand away from you, dropping down onto the elbow, and then just bleed your trunk up to the ceiling, trying to open up through the right side of your ribs as you float the other arm gently overhead. Holding that Bhadrajasana leg line on the mat. Find your way back to your original seat. From here, you're going to just gently find your mermaid line on the mat, squaring up the front foot, back knee feeding into the arch of the front foot. Take a soft rotational twist to the right, and then maybe to the left. Then maybe coming back onto your forearm again. So we added one more in on this round, and see if your little back lean feels any different as you arc gently with your ribs up to the ceiling. From here, you're going to find your way into a butterfly line. So as you peel back up to center, you're going to swing the back leg around, thinking soles of your feet together, knees nice and open, fingertips on the floor behind you. You're going to butt creep and try to situate yourself so that you've got at least half of the mat behind you to roll back on. Pause here, pushing off your fingertips, trying to bring the heels as close to your perineum as you can, and just making your knee points heavy to the mat. Baddha Konasana, butterfly. Then float the feet softly forward so that there's more of a diamond frame between your legs. Sit up nice and tall and tuck your hands, palms up underneath your legs, trying to rest your ankles within the palms of your hands. Then tip the weight back. Find your balancing point. And if you're ready, think of hollowing out through the belly. Almost pretend that somebody's pushing on your breastbone. As you start hollowing out, momentum will bring you back. Only rock as far as your shoulder blades and then come back up. Try to look for that balance and control. Pausing as you come back up. Remember to round out your spine so that you're not bruising it as you rock back and forth. Let's land on the back and come into that modified happy baby. So make yourself heavy to the mat. Allow the knees and the feet to open up slightly. Keep that bind on the inside first and just make your elbow points heavy to the back of your thighs. Pause here, trying to relax your tailbone, make your tailbone heavy into the mat. Pause here for a beat or two before changing the wrap of your hands, reaching from the outer quadrant of your feet, tugging down. Soles of the feet are looking up to the ceiling. And then actively make your sacrum and your lower back nice and heavy so that you are getting that awesome release into the lower back as you come into your happy baby frame. Maybe gently rock side to side if you need to. And then find your way from here into your hanging butterfly line. Think of letting go of the undercarriage of your feet, wrapping your hands around your ankles, bringing the soles of your feet together, scooping to peel up off the shoulders, hollow out your belly, and just hang here for a bit, looking towards your big toes. From here, we're going to ease our way into Shavasana, corpse pose, and we'll play with a little visualization nidra exercise today. Unbind, softly fall back. You can give me a cradle rock first if you need to. And then drop the arms at your side, palms up at about a 45-degree angle. Tap your big toes to the mat and then begin extending your leg line. As soon as the legs are fully extended, you're going to rotate your inner thighs out, toes looking to the corner of your mat, and you're going to settle into your corpse. Maybe lifting both shoulders off the mat, tucking them like little wings behind you. And then as you begin settling the whole weight of your body into the mat, close your eyes and take your focus inward. Visualize yourself as a child outside on a beautiful, warm, lazy summer's day. You've been gifted a double scoop ice cream cone. I want you to visualize the glee and the pure joy on your face as you enjoy each delightful lick of your delicious treat. So enthusiastic are you in licking your ice cream cone that you lick a little bit too hard and topple the top scoop of your double scoop ice cream onto the floor. Plop. Now visualize yourself as being that scoop of ice cream. As the summer sun shines down onto you, I want you to visualize that ice cream beginning to melt and liquefy. Feel your toes begin to tingle and soften. Feel that softness extending from your toes to the tension spot in the arch of your foot on either side. Feel your ankles becoming soft and liquid. Feel that softness, that liquefaction extend up through the legs, through the shins, the calves, bleeding through the knee joints, into the tops of your thighs. Your hamstrings, your quads become soft. Feel your bum cheeks liquefying and melting into the mat. Feel your hip points soften and melt right through the pelvis. Feel your chest, your ribs, your belly melting and bleeding into your spinal line. Feel your lower back, mid back, upper back, and shoulders liquefy. Feel your fingertips, pinky to thumb, begin to soften and curl in towards your palm. Visualize your palm and your fingers, your hands dissolving into your wrist line. Feel that liquid softness start to spread through your forearms, your elbows, your biceps, your triceps, the remnants of your shoulder girdle. Then visualize the skin of your head beginning to soften and melt. The skin over your scalp, your forehead, your eyelids, the skin over your nose, your cheekbones, your lips, your jawline, the remnants of your neckline and your collar line. You are now one pool of sticky, sweet ice cream liquid, soft and released, no tension at all in your body. Keeping your eyes closed and your focus inward, begin drawing your attention to your breathing pattern. Start to notice the soft inhalation and exhalation cycle of your body, and without trying to control it, just notice it. Tap into it. Try to keep your breathing pattern soft, relaxed, and gentle. Gently begin bringing your focus back into the room and become subtly aware of your surroundings and where you are. When you're ready to come out of Shavasana, you're going to gently flutter open your eyelids, but keep your eyes soft and your gaze unfocused. When you're ready, bend the knees one at a time and place the soles of your feet onto the mat, just relaxing your lower back into the mat for a beat or two. And then maybe hugging your knees in towards your chest. Gently cradle rocking out. You're going to use a spinal roll to come back into a seated frame of your choice. If rolling on the spine is not for you, just roll over into a fetal position and find your way into the seated frame of your choice. You're going to gently tuck into a little ball and rock the body up and down, hugging your knees in towards your shins, maybe hovering your toes just off the mat or tapping out physically onto the mat if you need to. Then sit up nice and tall hugging the knees or the shin bones into your chest, lengthen through the spine as much as you can, and then focus on your feet. Come onto the tips of your toes and drag the toes out in front of you, bracing and kicking into the heels, sitting up nice and tall. Float your hands to prayer in front of your heart. Keep your feet active as you once again take your focus inward, closing the eyes to complete your practice for today's class. Remember our original sankalpa or intention for today's class was to express delight. Remember that delight itself is incomplete until it is actually expressed. Don't be afraid to show your joy. Don't be afraid to show your happiness. Spread your delight for all to see. Namaste to you all. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. Hope you enjoyed. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Shoot me your comments and be ready for class on Monday. Until then, keep it light.